My name is Denise, and I live just outside of Asheville, North Carolina. It's a quiet, woodsy place, the kind of town where you can still hear crickets at night and see stars if you look up long enough. That evening, the house was still. My daughter Sophie had gone to visit her friend in Charleston for the weekend, and I had the rare gift of silence. No chores, no noise, no obligations, just me, a warm bath, and the time to let my mind drift. I let the steam curl around my shoulders as I sank into the tub. My fingers lazily traced patterns on the water's surface. I couldn't remember the last time I truly let go like this. For the first time in what felt like months, I wasn't worrying about anyone else. Then I heard it. The door creaked. At first, I thought it was the wind. But no. Footsteps followed. The bathroom door swung open before I had time to react. A sharp inhale. Not mine. My eyes snapped open. Standing in the doorway was Ethan, tall, wide-eyed. My daughter's boyfriend. His face froze in shock as he realized what he'd just walked in on. A towel hung limply over his shoulder, and his lips parted like he was about to apologize, but couldn't find the words. I instinctively reached for a nearby towel and covered myself as best I could, cheeks flushed, heart thudding. I didn't think anyone was here, he stammered, eyes wide with horror, before spinning around and shutting the door with a muffled thud. The room fell into silence again, but it was a different kind of silence now, heavy and charged. I sat there for a moment, stunned, trying to process what had just happened. He wasn't supposed to be here. I thought Sophie had gone alone. I thought I had the house to myself. I climbed out of the tub, dried off, and threw on a robe, the only one within reach, thin and short, tied hastily at the waist. My thoughts swirled. Embarrassment, confusion. That look in his eyes. Not leering, not cruel, just startled. Maybe something more. When I stepped into the kitchen minutes later, they were both there. Sophie grinned as she pulled leftovers from the fridge. "Hope it's okay," she said brightly. "Ethan's staying the night. Last-minute change." He didn't say much, just offered a quiet nod and a half smile. His eyes flicked toward me, but quickly dropped to the floor. My chest tightened. I returned the smile and said, "Of course. You're always welcome." But inside, I was spinning. That night, after we'd all had dinner and they disappeared into her room, I lingered in the living room, nursing a glass of tea. The laughter from upstairs faded. Then came the stillness. And then, a whisper. A soft sound through the thin walls. I froze. I shouldn't have been able to hear them. A voice. Then a muffled sound that made my breath catch. I looked down at my cup, willing the moment to pass. I turned on the TV. I turned it off. I told myself to go to bed. But I didn't sleep. When I finally gave up trying, I tiptoed downstairs and poured myself a glass of wine in the dark kitchen. The coolness of the tile grounded me. Then I heard a noise behind me. I turned. There stood Ethan, shirtless, clearly just out of bed. He stopped in the doorway. We stared at each other for a second too long before he smiled, awkwardly. "Sorry, I just needed some water." "No problem," I replied, clutching my glass tighter. "Didn't mean to disturb anyone." His eyes softened. "You didn't." He walked to the sink, filled a glass, and leaned back, not quite meeting my gaze. Silence settled between us again. "I really am sorry. About earlier," he said finally. "I didn't mean to walk in. I should have knocked." "It's okay," I said. "Just One of those moments. He nodded. Yeah, one of those. He lingered a moment longer, then offered a quiet good night and walked upstairs. I stayed there, staring at my reflection in the window. I wasn't angry. I wasn't scared. I was unsettled, but not because of what he did. It was what it stirred in me. It had been a long time since anyone had looked at me with anything other than polite indifference. I'd spent years being Mom, Ma'am, Mrs. Forrester. And for one fleeting moment, someone saw me differently. I didn't want anything from Ethan. I didn't blame him for the awkwardness. But I also couldn't pretend the moment hadn't shaken something loose inside me. That night, I returned to bed, heart still restless, but not because of him. Because I knew I couldn't ignore the way I'd been drifting through my own life. That moment, accidental, innocent, but emotionally jarring, reminded me I was still here, still a woman, still feeling. Sometimes life nudges us in the strangest ways, reminding us we're still alive, and that, maybe, it's time to wake up.